Hey, today is Sunday, July 10th, 2011. Um, I'm kind of late on making this video. It was supposed to be made on the 7th of this month. Um, to tell you that I told my grandma that I was gay, and it felt really good. Um, we were talking. My grandpa left. His brother came down from North Carolina on the truck, and they were up at the pilot. And my grandpa left to go see him, and me and my aunt were talking, and she's like, "This might be a good time to tell her," and I'm like, "But I want to wait until after we get back from North Carolina, so nothing will change." And she's like, "Well," she's like, "Mimi will take it fine. I trust me, I promise you." I'm like, "Okay." Well, I went to Mimi and I'm like, "Do you want to know the reason my mom's mad at me?" And she's like, "What?" And like I started scaring her. She started crying. She's like, "What is it? Please just tell me." And I told her, you might want to sit down. And Aunt Dana was talking to her as well, and whatnot. And she's like, "Well, what is it? Please tell me, Eric. You're scaring me." And I'm like, "Just give me a second." Well, my aunt's like, "This is something you never had to deal with before, blah blah blah." And because at first she said, Did you get someone pregnant?" And I'm like, "No, Mimi, that's total, not even close." And so um, my aunt's like, "No, this is something that you've never dealt with before, whatever." And I started looking. I was like looking at her, and I looked at the clock, and it was 7:11 on 7th of 2011. Like it was pretty crazy. And so um, I looked at her, and she's like, "What?" And she's crying or whatever because she I don't know, like I don't know. She's like, "You're gay?" And I said yes, and I just stood there and I started to cry. And my grandma stood up. She's like, "Oh, Eric, I love you. You know I love you," and blah 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 blah. And she's like, "But I knew." And my aunt's like, "You knew?" And she's like, "Yeah." She's like, "And when I look at you, and if I start crying, it's not that I'm crying because what you told me. I'm crying because you had to keep it to yourself this whole time." And she's like, "When you talk to me or whatever, I've read between the lines. It's not how you act or anything. It's just I know how to read you." And I'm like, "Okay." And so my grandma's completely fine with it. And the next day I went over there, not one thing changed. She acted just the same. She didn't look at me any differently, which is pretty amazing. And so I'm just glad my grandma knows. She knows me more than anybody except my aunt. Even she knows me more than my mom. My grandma knew, and my mom didn't. And my mom said that she doesn't want to accept it, and she's not gonna accept it. That's what she told my aunt. And and my mom's being really weird. And it's pretty sad that my grandma and my aunt accept it more than my own mom. But it's okay. It's whatever. I don't really get along with my mom anyway, so she was actually going to be the last person to know. But we were talking, and my grandma, she's like, "Are you going to tell Pawpaw?" And I'm like, "I wanted to wait until after North Carolina." And my aunts told her, said that this is the whole reason that I wanted to go to North Carolina is because this might be the last time that I can do anything with my grandpa without him looking at me any different, or just in case anything goes bad. And she's like, my grandma told me, she's like, "Just give him time when you tell him," because when I told him that, this is what my grandma said. She's like, "When I told him that your mom was pregnant with Scott when she was a teenager, he cried and whatnot." So she told me just to give him time when I tell him. So I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna tell him when we're on vacation because he's visiting his family and everything. So I'm gonna wait until after we get back. We leave the 16th. We get back the 30th. Um, and then hope I might tell him when we get back because I need to tell him soon. And once he knows, then I don't care who everybody else knows. Like I'm ready. I don't want to be in the closet anymore. So, excuse me. But video's a little late. It's all good though. I need to upload all these, but I haven't done them yet. So, until then, peace, love, deuces.